Hi, welcome to Spirit Paranormal. Today we're going to veer just a bit off the standard parapsychology theme, and in celebration of the holidays, we're going to talk about some holiday themed items. And today we're going to talk about Krampus, a very legendary folklore that comes out of the Eastern European Alpine mountain area and has Germanic roots. It's a fast growing trend in the United States these days since the early 2010 and beyond. Um, the big shout out to John X6, good friend and brother, who celebrates Krampus and celebrates the feast of St. Nicholas. Hope you enjoy this video. Krampus is starting to become again more populated in the United States, more popular in the United States. And for a lot of people who don't know the legend, it's a bit murky, has numerous different versions and variations. Now, the thing to understand is this creature, Krampus, is an anthropomorphic figure. In other words, he is, and that means that he has human traits, although an animal-like appearance. So, new word for today, anthropomorphic. Probably pronouncing it wrong. Anyway, in the regions of Krampus, usually he travels with St. Nicholas, and this is done at the usually the eve of the St. Nicholas Festival. St. Nicholas Festival is on December the 6th. The eve is December the 5th. They travel together, visiting homes and visiting children. St. Nicholas, of course, gives rewards, as he does in our culture, Santa Claus, and Krampus treats the bad children, and he punishes them. Some interesting takes on this. People ask how St. Nicholas treats the children. Well, just like he does, like Santa Claus does in the United States, he gives out gifts. And for those children that have behaved and made the good list. Now, if you made the naughty list, then Krampus deals with this, and he has several ways of doing this. In some cultures, he grabs the children, puts them on a basket in his back, and carries them off. Some believe to hell, some believe he drowns them, others believe he eats them. Certainly with this program, there are no second offenders. So, word to your children out there, you don't want to be on the naughty list. Others believe he simply distributes coal, and some legends show him as distributing coal and a silver birch whip, if you will, or and it's kind of there again murky. There's a lot of different accounts. Some say that he uses the birch to whip the children with, and others say he leaves it for the parents to whip the children with. Either way, you get a silver birch switch. So, maybe that's where the term switch came from, that a lot of the older people out there remember as a child as having to cut a switch to be whipped. So, certainly it's a possibility. There's many other variations of this belief, but essentially, Krampus is there as the alter ego of St. Nicholas. Now, in Europe, of course, Catholicism has ruled a lot of the St. Nicholas Festival, and that's where it comes from Catholicism. So, a lot of the true Roman Catholics, and even some that weren't traditionally celebrated this. Like many things we find in religion, there's combined with other areas of Celtic lore, Alpinian lore. We get into different areas of different countries, and some of these become melded or mended into that particular modern day lore. So we believe that Krampus may have been part Celtic, could have been part Norwegian, and certainly had some background in the Vikings. So there's some legends of Norse gods that kind of blend in, and this has all been adapted and brought into the celebration of Saint Nick in one way or another. Sort of like the celebration of the Day of the Dead, that kind of goes along those same lines. It's a mending or melting of cultures together. So many theories exist, but there's not a lot of hard facts proven about this, although it's getting more widespread and had been for many years. Not sure when Krampus was paired with St. Nick, but most believe that is part of that festival. Now, there are other lores that St. Nick comes first and then Krampus follows, and so many traditions hold to that. Now, talk about a minute about the dates of this. This goes way back. It predates many of the modern traditions we have nowadays. And again, its origins are quite murky as to where it may have began. The first written publication that really brought this out, at least in North America, came out in 1958, and it publicized the theories of the Krampus legends and brought this more to light. Nowadays in Europe, many places, United States, North America, St. Nicholas Festival is celebrated, and again it's the evening of the 5th. That's the March of Krampus, and so we see Krampus, in the parades and so forth, traveling with St. Nicholas and his companions. During this feast time and parading and celebration, it's nothing unusual to see St. Nicholas and Krampus walking together. And in many small festivals and small towns in Europe, they'll actually visit homes and businesses and so forth. And here in the United States, they don't do that as much as they just hold parades and then come back for a feast. One thing that's pretty common at these feasts is a Krampus schnapps. A schnapps is a drink that's commonly used to celebrate the St. Nicholas feast. It's usually done in a shot with a shot glass, and you can get a bottle of Krampus schnapps this day at Chuckanut Distillery. Shout out to Chuckanut. They are not sponsoring us, I want to make that clear, but we certainly want to shout out to them. They do sell bottles of that online. You can order it. It is a herbal liquor for the celebration of St. Nicholas Festival. Prices vary, but you can look them up on the net. Again, it's Chuckanut Distillery, and a big shout out to them. And if they watch this video, we ask them to email us back and let us know that they saw it. I've got a picture of the bottle. I don't have any of it. I'm planning on getting some. Be interesting to taste it just to see what that's all about. The tradition begins in the evening of the 5th of the 5th of December, and that is the night that most children are told that Krampus and St. Nick will visit on their festival. To ward off Krampus, the children are encouraged to leave a shot glass of schnapps on the front porch and a set of empty black boots. Now, it's believed that these boots, because Krampus has hooven feet, will help him walk through the snow, and that the shot will yield him a bit of forgiveness and keep him from entering the home. So these things are done. Now, if you don't have Krampus spirits or Krampus liqueur or schnapps, the considered replacement is like Rumpelstiltskin or Jägermeister or something along that line. Rumpelstiltskin is probably the most common one, and Rumpelminz it can be bought in any store. Again, that's kind of leads and kind of speaks to its Alpine and Germanic background. So anyway, leaving those on the front porch allegedly keeps Krampus from entering the home. Now, another tradition is to purchase 2 candles. This is kind of another thing very similar to the Day of the Dead, and one candle with the depiction of St. Nicholas and the other with Krampus, and to burn these in a little special space in your house and putting sprigs of evergreen around them, and burning them the night of the 5th into past midnight, which would help protect you as well. You're asking for the protection of St. Nicholas to keep Krampus from entering the home. Of course, Krampus is a good motivation for children to be good, and I'm sure it was used that way quite frequently in Europe. Among the other traditions, both in Europe and America, they range widely. Different people celebrate in different ways. More than oftentimes, we're seeing parades happen, and this has become more and more popular, and it's became a tradition where family members will come out and participate in the parade, and they dress as Krampus, and they spend hours and lots of money and effort into decorating these costumes, and they're fabulous costumes, and they wear them, and it's turned into a bit of a similarity between Mardi Gras and maybe Carnival. There's a lot of drinking involved and a lot of celebration, and oddly enough, in Bavaria in 2019, they barred the parade because of the parade 2018 caused so much chaos and so many drunken people that they decided they didn't want in public, so they were required not to parade that year. Just an interesting fact. For the United States, I think it's the same way. There's some areas that have kids that parade with Krampus, and then there's other where it's more of an adult event. lots of drinking, lots of celebration. It's a fun event. I'd really like to go to one. I haven't, and I certainly be looking into that in 2021. When depictions of Krampus and Saint Nick are very interesting. Saint Nick appears in standard Eastern bishop vestments, so he looks like he's dressed as a bishop, Catholic bishop, in the standard vestments with a gold staff, which curls in, a rod they call it, and he walks through with a basket of golden branches and a bag of toys. Very similar to Santa Claus, huh? That's, of course, where Santa Claus legend came from. For the good kids, they get a golden branch, which we believe is a birch branch that is painted gold, and it's usually depicted in twig form, and the child is given a toy. Now, why are they given the golden branch? Well, pretty much what we can figure out from folklore is that golden branch is what they show Krampus to show them that they've been good and they're not on the naughty list. It's kind of their insurance. Now, Krampus images, they vary from region to region. As a general rule, he has goat horns, some straight, some twisted, some of them pretty fabulous in some of the costumes. And his face is in kind of a goat face as well. He's covered in fur, either brown or black. He has hooved legs, or in some traditions, he has one hooved leg and one human leg, kind of giving you the impression he's caught between the two. He generally wears, if he does have the human foot, he wears a Santa boot on that foot. Pointed ears and tongue, fur covered again. He has fangs. He carries with him a bundle of silver birch sticks to be used as switches. On his back, he has a wicker basket to hold children and coal. He uses a wood walking stick and usually has bells and chains on. Now, the bells and chains are kind of an interesting thing. There's a lot of theories to where these may have come from. It's believed that the bells come from the Celtic belief and tradition that bells ward off evil spirits, demons, witches, and so forth. The chains is believed it's a form of Catholicism that the church had chained the devil and controlled the devil and such, and that's why he is bound and chained. So, two possible reasons why. The chains are usually wound in different ways around, and he carries them with him at times. In modern depictions, he usually has a little bit of sexual overtone, especially during parades. He tends to chase women, especially well-endowed women, throughout the crowd, and that's part of the fun of being Krampus, I suppose. And now, as we go through and we look at this, couple things that come to mind very clearly is that generally when we're looking at this and we're going back and looking at the origins of where Krampus came from and how all that was depicted, it's a parody of good and evil. So, many people believe that Krampus is the devil, or possibly even a demonic entity of the devil. There's been all kinds of legends. Certainly he appears to be evil and a punisher of children. Now, we said that he carries coal. Okay, well, this is where the coal legend came from, that Santa gives bad children coal. Because what would happen is if a child was in one of the good regions where he wasn't carried to hell, drowned, or eaten, he was at the very least given a silver switch, as we talked about, and he was given a piece of coal, showing that it was bad and the switch was to punish him with. So this was the parody. Now, in tradition, St. Nick and Krampus didn't travel alone. They had assistants. Like any good executive management team, they had assistants. Now, those assistants came in many different forms, and certainly one of the most common forms is the Black Petes. And they are characters who dress in what we might consider close to elven-clad costumes, and they assist Santa. They help handing out toys to the children. They help him carry his load. They help handing out golden rods, and their face and they're totally black, and they wear black gloves. They're called Black Petes. Also, sometimes the woodsmen come, and they dress much like lumberjacks or woodmen, and they come in and they assist in the same way. Then you occasionally have angels in some cultures that also follow St. Nick. He's a saint, so why wouldn't angels follow him? Now, Krampus has assistants too. They're called minions, and they look a lot like Krampus. In a lot of ways, that's how, in Krampus Parade, all the Krampuses in the area are described as minions of Krampus. So he has his assistants to help him carry his coal, and he switches his silver birch. And you know, silver birch is a very popular wood around the holidays. You see it sold at places, and it's usually pretty expensive. And it's used for decorating and Yule logs and so forth. And this is belief where this may have come from as well. So as we look at this as a whole, there's a lot of legends we can derive from that. The modern revival of Krampus and St. Nicholas Festival here in America began about 2012 with a novel by Gerald Broom entitled The Yule Lord. It began a surge of popularity, and more people started having their own celebrations, like my good friend and brother John Essex, who has a celebration of Krampus. Now, in 2015, Universal Studios released a horror movie called Krampus. It wasn't really depicting and holding to the tradition, although it was certainly a spin on that, and it's become very popular. It's played a lot of times at Christmas. So for those Halloween fans that really love Halloween and want to, you know, get that into the Christmas holiday, Krampus is the way to do it, it seems. And since which time this all has started about maybe early 2010, 2012, things have moved along and then become more and more popular. Especially in countercultures and young cultures, you see them working Krampus into aspects of video games, anime, graphic novels, and he's becoming more and more popular. Certainly, you know, as we go along, we're hearing more of it. Matter of fact, I and my wife were in a department store recently and saw a Krampus figure. We were both very shocked to see that because it's very unusual. This was a mainstream chain, and it was very unusual to see them promoting that or carrying those products. If you buy them off the internet, you can get them off eBay and Amazon. They're not cheap. Krampus ornament is really cool, though, especially if you travel abroad, you get up north, you might find those in certain trap shops. Always kind of keep an eye out for them. Things to remember is there's a lot of festivals held, a lot of different places. Minnesota, Pennsylvania, LA, Chicago, New York. You can look them up, and actually, as everyone knows, we're out of Indiana, and there is one here in Bloomington, Indiana, so maybe next year I'll attend that. They have a Krampus parade and festival down there. That would be kind of interesting. I really think that would be neat to do. So, well, if you have questions, and I'm sure there's some other areas of the folklore and the legend that I did not cover, you're welcome to email us and let us know, and I'll try to work them in the next video. But as the holiday season progresses, I hope you enjoy this video. So come the next December the 5th, remember to leave a shot glass of sops on your front porch. Light your Krampus candle and hope he passes you by. Happy holidays from the Spirit Paranormal Group.